Okay, here we are, the Modern Eater Show on iHeartRadio. Greg Hollenbach, Brian Freeman, Jay behind the camera. It's Road Trip 2018. Follow our travels for the rest of the week. It's a Monday, and we're going through Sunday. Hashtag TME Road Trip. This is a cool one, Brian, because we're sitting here with friends of yours. Of course, Growers Organic does business with great people. And as we go along our journey to sit here with Jessica and Scott here at Field to Fork in Palisade, it's just a privilege to be able to catch up with guys like this, because I think you're really going to appreciate the types of conversation that we have. So first, how did you guys all get to know each other, Brian?
Well, it was actually, they reached out, which was really awesome, because I felt super lucky that this is all what Growers is about. It was about cultivating small farms, that people that really love what they do and believe in it. And they reached out and said, hey, you know, we're getting certified organic. We want to sell. We're going to some restaurants direct right now. We do a farmer's market. We do a CSA. But we're realizing if we're ever going to get to the scale that we want to be successful farmers, we need someone like Growers Organic, and then Scott and Jessica.
The other big thing for us was we love growing gourmet varieties that aren't the typical varieties that you see on the grocery store shelf.
The one-offs.
And so, you know, that's where a small farm can really find a good niche. And Growers Organic, when we reached out and started really talking, we all loved the same crops, you know, and so, you know, then we knew we had a good fit, where when we said, oh, we grow Bloomsdale spinach and fava beans and, you know, all these little things that the big farmers don't really want to do. Yeah. And Brian was like, yes,
I've got something here.
Yeah.
Let's start at the beginning, just like Alice in Wonderland. Scott, a little backstory as we pulled up. Jessica talked about, here it is. He told me I want to be an organic farmer.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, tell me more. Tell us more.
Well, I met Jess in Breckenridge in
2006.
2006.
Actually, 2005 we met, but he had a girlfriend, so.
And
so she was so respectful.
Yeah. And I was growing a small soil mix in beer flats and plastic garden in my heated garage in Breck. And
why? What was your fascination?
I grew up in Illinois, and I had a grandfather, kind of had a Catholic divorce from my grandmother, and he lived with his brother, and that was that. They had just a small orchard, a huge garden, huge woodlot connected to some public lands, and it was just like, here's a 22, here's the mower, like, you know, and I was just like,
here's our life, here's our food.
Yeah, exactly. Summer kitchen, you know what I mean, like ball games on the AM, and I would just lose myself there, and they taught the things that I really hold true to myself, you know. I say it often, gold's worth nothing in the desert. You can have all the money you want in the world, and you don't have good food and clean water and some earth. It's not irrelevant.
It all made sense to you at some point.
Yeah, it did, but I lost my track. I went to CSU and studied landscape horticulture, and you know, I figured that out quick, did a cost analysis of my education, and hit the eject button. Went up to Brack and met Jess, and that's where we were going, and she was just the first girl I met that was just like not afraid. Like most girls were just like, okay, like cool, like, you're doing what, or you know. So yeah, she was just the tiger heart, man. She was the one that wasn't afraid. And
so instead of saying grow up, she said let's grow together.
Yeah,
let's go on this journey together.
And I never met anybody that just out of my reverberation of my conversation and just talking. She picked up what I was talking about. Like, never met anybody who's had more of a natural green thumb than Jess. Like, she really, really, really picks up on stuff. And she's more the horticulturist, and I'm more the hydraulic fixer, the electric fixer, the
donkey
fixer. Yeah, I'm the donkey. Yeah, exactly. I'm more a mule, maybe a mule. Yeah, I can't be that big of an ass. But Jess is the farm owner, and I'm the farm manager.
Gotcha.
And if I wasn't with Jess, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be a farm manager somewhere.
So Jessica,
match made in heaven, though, right there.
Yes, Jessica comes to the point to where you talked about it with Jay as we're looking for tagging you on Facebook and the Field to Fork. Just kind of, you guys were in the front end of this movement of the way that I see it. How did it begin?
Well, we really wanted to grow fresh fruits and vegetables for people in our community and just have it be just that, from the field to your fork, like as nutritious as possible, skipping the mileage that, a lot of the food miles that so much food is traveled. And so we were just trying to get people closer to their food. And we kind of started as a CSA. And when we came out here and said, oh, we're going to start a CSA, people were like, what's that? They just had never even really heard of the concept yet. And we had came from Southern California where the concept was really big. I mean, everybody had a CSA. And
for people that don't know,
CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture, which I really wish organic farmers could have came up with a little bit better term for it. But,
See, we use the term for the show and it spans beyond farming and ranching and brewing, and it's your community, it's your neighborhoods, it's hyper-local.
Yes.
It's keeping not only the money within your community, but the networking. And you'll see a brewer source some fruits from a farmer, and they'll use that, and then you'll see a restaurant that's local that'll put the beer on the tap, and then somebody local will come in and drink the beer, and all of a sudden you've just
community to me,
completed the circle.
And so we really wanted to reach out to our community that way, and nobody was really serving the local restaurants yet. We really opened up working with chefs and trying to raise the bar with some of the other smaller farms and really bringing some high quality crops to their restaurants. And over the years now, things have changed quite a bit in that whole scope, because we've just found it's really hard when a chef or a restaurant only wants like 3 pounds of something and we have like 3,000 pounds coming out of the field.
That's where guys like Brian kind of come in, though, right? The middleman.
Exactly. Like Brian really saved our butt this spring. Scott's dad passed away, and we had our first really big greens harvest come out of lettuce, and we had to leave for a week. And so usually we would harvest it off in a 3-day phase and kind of not overload anybody. But we called Growers Organic, and we were like, we have like 300 pounds ready right now, and we have to go to this funeral. Scott's dad passed away, and they said, we'll take it. So if we didn't have Growers Organic, I don't know what we would have done. We would have completely lost that harvest. We would have completely, it would have just bolted while we were gone, and it would have been a total loss.
Yeah.
So,
and Scott, your old man probably made that harvest very plentiful and big. I'm gonna test the kid.
Exactly. No, that's exactly how it was.
It
was like our first big where we were going to open things up, and then, so.
But he says, this is what you've trained for. Let's get it out.
So we're really lucky that we have this support, and that there are restaurants in Denver that can't absorb that product, and
that's
here locally that would be really hard for us.
The likes of like Chris Starkus, right? Urban Farmer.
Chris has been a good supporter.
Yep.
But the good thing is we don't know.
We don't know, and we really like that.
You know what I mean? We don't know.
We really like that we don't have to keep up the relationship.
It'd be too hard.
It is. It's
you have
really
work
hard
to do, right?
It's really, really hard. And chefs have, they're a lot like farmers in their own way. Like, put chefs and farmers together, and it's interesting. It gets really interesting.
Well, there's so much creativity. I think that's the hardest thing to it is when you get a chef and a farmer, because really you're creative in your way. In how you're looking at the soil, how you're cultivating the dirt. I mean, because really what you are is you're dirt farmers first, right?
Exactly.
I mean, the biggest thing.
Well, dirt is what's under your fingernails.
Yeah.
Soil is what we grow in.
Oh, okay.
Soil's clean.
Yeah.
Soil's clean. Where dirt is dirt, like it's like not clean. But soil is one of the cleanest things we have on our planet.
You learned something today.
I love
it too.
Well, I have a shirt that says Dirt Farmers, because one of the big things at Eco Conference was the fact that. But I love the way that you eloquently put that.
Well, now can we do soil soldiers?
Soil soldiers.
Soil soldiers. I love it.
I mean, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I love that. I want to make a T-shirt.
It's yours.
All right.
Don't take that URL.
Okay.
You can have it.
New name.
Yeah. So, Field Fort. Here we are, Palisade, Colorado, right? Right in the heart of it.
Which is really cool, because I feel, and hold on to your caps, Front Range farmers, is that this growing climate, what is it, a what bee?
We're quickly getting with the you know,
coming seasons and stuff like that.
yeah, with the seasons changing so much with climate change, it's quickly becoming like a zone 8.
The zone 8.
You
So
know,
really?
yeah.
Wow.
Like
our
we have
hails
not
were less.
froze
Like,
in years
it's a
now,
superior
really.
climate to grow. Like I mean, we grow peaches here. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it is the warmest place in the state. Period.
When
Yeah.
you're not as volatile. That's I mean
Yeah.
that's one of the things that the Front Range farmers, I mean, listen, my heart goes out to them. They bust their butts, but the reality is the Front Range is just a cesspool of weather.
Yeah.
You know, and then the soil on the Front Range is nothing
The whole
like what
state's
you guys
pretty- yeah.
Well, here's the
You know.
blessing in disguise, I guess. First generation Colorado farmer, right?
Yeah,
Correct,
first
yeah.
generation farmer. Period.
Period.
Yep.
Okay, so you know, old habits die hard,
Right.
and you know, people that sit around on their land for generations, and this is what we're supposed to grow.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is what we're supposed to have. You guys are malleable to this is what our land can yield, and you will look at certain one-offs that you can produce at that point in time and grow, right? I mean, that's why you're doing these one-offs that
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the land will tell you what to grow, I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
Like, you've got to listen. And we have an interesting parcel of land where we have this clay deposit. And when we saw our map, our like soil map, it showed this clay deposit that came down. That's this ancient clay deposit from glacier melt off, you know. And we have the heaviest clay out of like anywhere we've ever farmed. But our beets and our carrots and our turnips and our radishes are so smooth. They're not hairy. They, you know, it's like exactly what you want as a grower. You want to grow quality, but you also want that beauty there too that just like takes it to that next
Yeah.
level.
and the flavor.
Yes. And then the clay has so many minerals and elements in there that the plants can just suck up everything that they need to grow and give you what you need to grow, you know, and live a healthy life. So we have a really interesting farm.
Yeah, we're on a really interesting place. This is like not a tyro, but like it's an arete, you know, and everything goes this way from here, and it's ground down, and everyone else has better soil, but like last year the guy over there didn't have peaches. This guy over here didn't have, you know what I mean? Like things are going off of here, and I don't know. It just this farm is a 3-generation farm with 3 different families. That's like unheard of. Usually this would be scooped up. There'd be a 5,000 square foot stucco home with the horse arena and the quads and the bastard kids that don't know how to read cruising around. You know what I mean? Like, so to us, I see that. And when we first moved here, coming from San Diego County with the perfect sandy clay loam, one day at the farm I worked at, I got bored and I took the backhoe and I dug down a 9-foot horizon. I'm in it with some students, and I'm like, this is as good as it gets, guys. This is like no better. And so when I came here, I was just like, welcome to Fruta, dude. I was just like, what is going on? What the heck, you know? And so as I learned the soil here, it's actually negatively charged, and it's super alkaline. And what is that doing is it's holding up. Like when I put money in the bank as far as fertilizer, it doesn't leave. Now I might have to use sulfur or vinegar or something to get that chaotic exchange out for the pH to change, but it's here. And so now I see the taste it gives the lettuce. Everything's thicker here. Everything's smoother here. It's just, it's a ridiculous growing climate. And I really want to, as I started off saying, hey, hold on to your caps, Front Range farmers. I feel that we're a part of them. And being out here on the western slope, it's 2 different worlds, you know.
Yeah.
But I really feel that we have a part, and other farmers here in Mesa County, to feed Denver. And I think as a state, we're going to help get that done. You know what I mean? And
Well, that's
it's
where
not
the
gonna,
people are. There's not a lot of people here. So, you know, and everybody grows a garden. Everybody has a peach tree.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to sell your produce as a farmer here. So, you know, being able to connect with Growers Organic again has been really, really beneficial for us.
I let me chime in real quick.
Yeah,
Greg.
please.
One of the things I wanted to say is what I love about what they're doing, and they mentioned on this before, is these specialty items.
Right.
Because the reality is everyone on the Front Range too is going to bigger commodity crops. They're wanting to just grow lettuce. You know, we used to have so many great farmers that would grow sugar snap peas, English peas, lemon cucumbers, all these unique items on the front range, and they're going away fast. You know, because the reality is everyone wants to be at a scale where they can grow, you know, 10,000 boxes of green leaf lettuce, 10,000 boxes of red leaf lettuce, which isn't fun for foodies like me.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, you know, I got into it with Growers Organic was all around this fact that why I started the company and said I'm going to have this kind of mix of grocery stores and restaurants is because the grocery stores are the ones that can take the lettuce. They can let you try to bring something in that you can try, because a chef is only going to take like 10 pounds of something.
Yeah, because they have small refrigeration.
Yeah, small refrigeration, and they just don't. Some of them are small little restaurants, and they just don't use that much.
But they can change the culture a bit, though, through what they're doing and their names and their marketing and the way that they do
So
it.
many chefs have such a large voice, you know, and they can really tell consumers what they should be, you know, looking for in products. And
a standard.
yes, and I feel like there's a lot of potential, you know, of trying to get different things going, but we don't want the commercial growers to learn about Hakurai turnips. So let's, you know.
They can do it all day long. Like Circle A is one of the largest organic growers, and Full circle. Full circle.
Circle A.
Do you mind if we get
is
into the weeds a little bit with that? I know, Scott, you're unapologetic organic, right? I mean,
it's common sense, man.
Okay,
you know
so
what I mean? Like, it's
you
common
mind
sense.
if I push you
Let's
a
do
little
it.
bit,
Let's do
just
it.
because I want to see. A lot of times people don't have the answers, and I'm a seeker of knowledge. I just want to absorb as much information and be an informed consumer.
Word.
That's all that I want. So organic, first of all, why is organic important?
Organic's good for you. It's good for the planet we live on, and it's good for my family as a farmer.
So a lot of people would just say, well, those are talking points, but give me something tangible. Like, tell me how eating organic is going to change my life for the better in a way that I can understand. Am I getting different nutrients? Am I eliminating pests? I mean, I could build the case myself for why to eat organic, but I want to give it to you.
Well, first of all, I'll kind of start it off with our farm's pyramid. It's a pyramid. It's us, Jess and I and our son. It's the community, the state, the county, the city, and it's the environment. Without those, we're part of the community, dinero. So money, community, environment, the world. Without those three things, it's not going to float at all. So where organic comes in is that, A, you just can't grow to this scale unconventionally. And I have a whole problem with the word conventional. Like, this is conventional. I grow conventional. I grow like my grandfathers and her grandmother and on to the EOS. This is plant, animal, mineral-based inputs, period. Now, that being said, the environment, the runoff on the river. The thing I love is I love telling people that, did you know organic farmers spray twice as much as conventional farmers? And they're like, what? That's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, everything I have is oxidizing, like poof, you know. So there's an REI time, that's a re-entry date for workers or the farmers. It's usually about 12 hours. The consumption date on those same products are 0. The REI dates are set up to protect agricultural workers, long-term exposure, you know, and it's there. An REI or a consumption date on conventional sprays, let's say something like codling moth, sometimes up to over a month. Do you want to eat something that has to air off and get the cooties off of it to eat it? You know, so it's simple. It's environment, it's communities, and it's economics.
Well, and the other big thing is that Scott said was all our inputs on our, you know, if we have to spray something, it's plant, animal, or mineral based. So it comes from the earth. It's natural. It's a natural product. Where conventional sprays are usually petroleum based, so they're plastic based. And I don't know how much you enjoy eating plastic, but I really don't, because then you're putting free radicals in your body, which are cancer-causing agents. And so if that's a concern to you, or if cancer can be prevalent in your family, or even if you're just aware that, you know, I think eating organic can really help with all the other things that we put into our daily lives, and even just driving automobiles and everything that's surrounding us, like, why not choose organic?
And then,
So, and we can talk about that. So, rather than going, well, why go organic? Well, why not go conventional? At one point in time, Jay said to me, well, my body's just lucky to even be getting an apple in it.
right, that's valid.
Yes.
Regardless of...
Exactly.
There's
It's
places
like
in Denver that I know are food deserts. The only
Yeah.
place where people getting produce
Sure.
is from a liquor store.
So
you know what I mean? Like, that's a problem.
I grew up in the generation of the Ronald Reagan era, where it was, how do we feed the world? On the heels of food stamps coming out and processed foods and changing the complexion. If it was words, it'd be lexicon, but changing the complexion of how food is grown throughout, particularly the United States. And some people would say, well, you're just bucking technology. This is perfectly fine. This is perfectly safe. People walk around every single day, happy, healthy human beings, athletes, so on and so forth. That, really what you're doing is just, you're resistant to change, and you're resistant to the future, and you're resistant to feeding more people that we could feed and have, produce that will last longer, that will be bigger and bolder and better. Well, what do you say to those people?
There's two ways of farming: with an ecosystem or against it. You really start. We're just seeing it here. This is year 4 at the farm. Year 5 after buying. 85-year-old farmer. It was
Totally conventional.
Roundup and rototiller. He was holding on. You know what I mean? It was just all he could do to make the place manageable. Now I'm seeing it. I'm seeing earthworms. Our ladybugs are out of this world. We're getting complaints that we got ladybug cocoons and larvae in the lettuce, and I'm just like, and she's like, no bugs, and I'm like, God, they're good bugs,
Give it back.
Yeah,
Give
yeah,
it back.
you nail it back.
That was extra.
But once you start, and we're in the process of getting our biodynamic cert, and for the most part, certs are a pain in the neck. I mean,
Sure.
Well, and that's the
And
thing.
there's
It's
a lot
like
of
conventional
bureaucracy.
farmers don't have to get a certification to say how they farm, where I think it should be the other way around, where these regenerative farmers that are taking care of the land should just be able to be farming, and that should be, like Scott was saying, that should be how you farm.
Some folks could have the same practices as you guys, legitimately, and still be classified a conventional farmer.
Well, and we were for years.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
and that's,
we
that's
didn't
a
pay
bad
the
rap to
certification.
have that bureaucracy, and I guess there's a certain amount of that certification needed. But so here's where.
But what if in the grocery store you walked in and it said pesticide, no pesticide? Where would you go?
Right.
Well, wait, and let me jump in. Sorry, 1 second, Craig. But I think one of the things that you said that just touches a nerve with me is this whole concept. I'm using a chemical that can kill people, and I don't have to have any training. I don't have to have any certification. I don't have to have anything. But yet, I'm farming in a way
can go
that
farm
is not
20
using.
years.
I'm farming in
Right.
a way that they've been doing it for 10,000 years
And undercut people.
and I've got to go get some kind of certification that says what I'm doing is
It's a great
is
conversation.
right. I mean, and then I want to, and because I want to have Scott answer something that he said, because what's really intense in my eyes, because something that I know about is biodynamic, and so the fact that they're getting biodynamic certified, a lot of people don't understand that, but that's taking organic to this level. It's taking it's one step above, and I work with some farms that are saying, oh well, we're only biodynamic and that's better than organic. But I think these are a farmer that recognizes we're going to do both.
It's a business.
We really believe
you're a
in
good
integration.
Talker, are you a lawyer?
We
You know what I mean? You got to get that
Right,
credential.
right.
You got to go to
That's
bat.
a great point,
You got to
Scott.
come in there.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If you're not certified organic, you're not organic. Period.
Here's where I want to get a little deeper, and we talk about ecosystems, and your farm is a small portion of this valley, right? This ecosystem
small.
in this valley, everybody's not certified organic.
No.
And so, Jessica and Scott, in your plot of land, and then Farmer Joe's down the street, his ecosystem is part of yours.
Absolutely.
The runoff of his water, can you ever truly be organic?
Yeah, what is organic? Is anything
That's
organic?
where I mean, listen, I'm not trying to
It's
go
the
in the
corner of the
matrix
earth, my
here.
friend.
No,
We're
it's-
going
But
But at least we're making a choice as
You're
a
controlling what
farmer,
you can,
what
right.
we can
But can you
control,
guarantee you're not getting the plastic or the pesticides that you're so
We all
heavily
get-
against?
We all use the same
Well,
river
I mean,
water, man.
you know, I think
That's
it's
a
not.
serious question. you
I
know?
don't think it's like as prevalent as maybe some consumers might think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I had a consumer not that long ago come and say, I'm so scared to water my garden with my irrigation water because it comes out of like a joint pond in our neighborhood, and all the water in the neighborhood goes into this pond, and then we recycle it, and then what if I spray it on my garden? Will it kill my plants? And it's like, no, it's not going to kill your plants. You know, the sun cleans, the soil cleans. Like, there's a lot of filtration that's happening. The Colorado River, we are so extremely lucky to be at the source of our water. Like, we have runoff coming down from that mountain right there.
Still see a little snow.
You know, we ski up there all winter.
Yeah.
And our powder turns grow carrots. Like-
That's, yeah.
I mean, do you care about what your neighbors are doing?
I do,
with their
because it's
land?
real hee-haw around here.
Go to
There's a lot of
California.
people here that, okay, so you see the top of the trees?
Sure.
When you're spraying in an orchard.
Don't say things like hee-haw.
Why do you
It's
say
how it
that?
is. It's just how it is.
Hey,
This is
man,
beach
that's why
country,
we
dude.
love
A lot
talking
of
to
these
you.
guys and girls, they don't give a flying leap, man.
Yeah.
So your spray should not exceed 10 feet over that canopy, period. Should be running about maybe max 90 psi. I know for a fact people are running like 160.
So you're
You know,
going to
when
be
the
out there
crew-
waving your cane? when
I
you're
take
just
my
like-
videos.
Yeah,
and,
you do.
And here's the sad part:
Yeah.
is that the EPA and the teeth are
Because they're the normal.
they're gummy. They're
You're the
gummy.
one that's the odd
Yeah,
one.
so you're my neighbor. You spray your conventional poison on my lettuce.
Yeah.
I got that. That's going to Brian tomorrow.
Yeah.
You just sprayed a product on it that makes it
Right.
unpalatable for 45 days.
What do you do?
Guess what? The law reads I am supposed to be cordial and work communication with my neighbors.
Interesting.
There's nothing I can do that is with the law. There's
Yeah.
nothing I can do. So what I do is there's spray strips, and they're used primarily to see if you're getting a good coverage.
Sure.
And they're like yellow, and then they hit purple, and you can see your spray pattern. But what I do is I put them on the property line, and that lets people know, like, oh, homeboy's serious
paying
about this.
attention.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and
Well,
it's
and one
documentary.
thing we've done is we lease this field, which we're turning certified
GMO.
organic. It was a GMO corn field, which was weird for Palisade to have. Like, it's just a little 6-acre like field, you know. So it was just kind of strange to have like GMO corn.
Yields are out of this world.
But
for
the
corn
neighbor
here.
next to them is Sweet Cheeks Organic Peaches, 20 acres. Next to them, Aloha Organic Peaches. You know,
under 20
behind
acres.
that, another organic farm of Plum Daisy. You know, so we are the largest certified
Block.
organic block in Mesa County. It's about coming close to 50 acres, all in one area.
Because of all those three farms.
Because of
in
all
here.
of this, yeah.
Which is so funny, folks, just so you know, growers, all those farms we've worked with for years.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. Brian Olson at Plum Daisy. I love Sweet Cheeks. How do you not like a name like that?
Yeah.
For
And they're
peaches,
really
you
growing
know?
a good peach. So
Yeah.
So
you
to
guys
read
Got
the
look.
website,
And
so
Aloha,
awesome
you
people,
know.
yeah.
To reset, we're on Road Trip 2018, just connecting Colorado to food and beverage. We get
Coffee, so
we
you
get
can
some.
do that.
But
fun-
that was one reason why we bought this farm, because it was surrounded by organic agriculture, so it was a little less risk for us to grow leafy greens.
Yeah, it's kind
Gotcha.
of nice knowing the guy growing 20 acres of peaches next to you is gonna, if he does overspray your lettuce, there's zero consumption weight.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Back to your
Sure,
thing about
yeah.
the environment, the world, the river water.
Mhm.
If an ecosystem, if a body is healthy, it will resist its environment. This patch of soil here is dynamic. This patch of soil here is changing.
Interesting.
This patch of soil can fight.
How do you educate your neighbor to get on board?
It's
I mean, wouldn't that be a great thing to have?
like
is
I
to
mentioned,
be-
like I mentioned, the GMO guy. You know, I was real nice to him up until the day I called him and told him I was gonna sneak him out of a lease. You know,
Yeah.
and we had words, and that's cool. He's no longer on my property borders.
Yeah.
You know, and
I mean, that's what it's about, right? Educating. If you can educate your neighbor.
educating to a point where it's. I'm gonna educate you to a point where, you know, and I want to say this too, really important. Like, I come from the Midwest, and there are some things about conventional farming that are really good, like Roundup and GMO crops have really taken a lot of the herbicides, pesticides, and fungicides out of the rivers, because these guys are doing like these huge chevrons. They're like these like big fat steamroller wheels with chevrons in them, and they roll in this zero till, and they so Jess and I were just having this conversation the other night. We're at a time in the world and our planet and our history is that you can't ignore anyone's style of agriculture.
No.
Yeah.
Even GMO, those guys know a lot.
Which is interesting I'm trying to reinforce your point, but I don't want Roundup as part of the DNA of what within the fruit itself to be resistant from the inside.
I got cousins that drink glycol at Christmas. We got an argument. He's just like, "It don't hurt you," and I'm like, "Cool, wow."
What's the future of organic?
Integration. Taking a lot of the different techniques that are happening out there of the conventional farming and putting it into an organic system also. So, I mean, we all have so much to learn from each other. And I really think conventional farmers are looking at organic farmers, and we're looking at hydroponics, we're looking at aquaponics. We're all integrating good things that are happening in all of those systems. I mean, I'm a true believer in the soil because I feel it just gives the terroir. So you guys know terroir from drinking wine, and it's the same with vegetables. Like, you have to have the earth in your vegetables. You have to. It's what gives the acidity in that tomato. It's what gives the crunch in the carrot. You can't do that in an aquaponic or a hydroponic system. It's just, ask anybody, put that certain vegetable next to a soil grown vegetable, and hands down every time the people will say, "I don't know what it is. This one just tastes better. This one's just crispier. This one's it just has what," And wine has shown that. I mean, look at what the wine industry is doing. They're all going biodynamic, putting lambs in their vineyards to keep the grasses down and fertilizing it at the same time. And they're out yielding the conventional farmers now. They're yielding more pounds per acre, and they're not spraying, and they're not...
Well, they're spraying biodynamic stuff. They're spraying silicas. They're spraying compost tea, and
it's pretty amazing though, because it's just old-fashioned. It's just what our grandfathers and grandmothers did. It's nothing new. None of it's new. Like, this is all just coming back around with modern technology.
The old
with modern irrigation.
Right.
The old
with electricity. Like
the original.
Like being able to have pumps to pump water. I mean, it's just getting so good. Yeah. And we're really lucky. We're really
Plastic
lucky.
Sheeting. You know what I mean?
The true soil soldiers right here. I love it.
And I would go back to one of your original questions. Is this GMO thing, and what, because the GMO is really, in a way, I mean, I really appreciate that Jessica and Scott have an appreciation for these GMO growers.
Absolutely.
Because they're doing something. But I think, unfortunately, what's propelled that whole industry is I call it the big GMO lie. That you this whole concept that we're going to grow more, grow faster. They've done studies now on top of studies that are finding out that GMO is not yielding anymore.
No.
It's not less water.
It's all hollow.
Yeah, now what they're doing with the seed, there's some interesting stuff that's going on there. But I think we need to be careful, because I'm afraid, the tests that I have family over in Hawaii. And, one of the big things that they're talking about over there is the fact that, when Dole was testing their GMOs and how it got banned in Hawaii is because they were testing papaya.
Wow.
And it jumped from papaya to a flower. And the thing that scares me the most about GMOs is what we don't know right now. And there's, and it would take, 50, 100 years to learn it before we should let the technology out there. Yeah.
Just from the GMO field that was next to us, we started getting headaches. We weren't able to eat a lot of the foods that we used to enjoy. Like
supermarket foods. Like refined foods.
We had a top ag guy on the show, and I pressed him on the GMOs, and you guys know that the deck is stacked against you with politicians and bureaucrats.
Oh yeah, because there's money. When there's money on the table, people get gnarly.
Absolutely.
How does Roundup work? How does glycosamine work, dude? It fractures and bursts cells. It divides. You spray a plant, and it pops the cells. It divides. It divides to a point of eruption. Sound familiar? It's called cancer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty rudimentary, and I mean, we live in a time that we really can't prove that global warming's real either. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's one of those things, man.
Interesting times, right?
It's super convenient.
But what were you saying about
so you know, along with anything else, there's a softening. You know, they need the softening of GMOs. That term just has been used so much to way it's just like you know, liberal. You know, now you're progressive, or
Right.
you know, you're
Tea Party.
Yeah, exactly. So with GMO is that he threw an interesting term at me, and I'm trying to remember. It wasn't GMO, but it was like.
Well, he tried to say instead of genetically modified,
Yeah, that
as
it was
opposed
genetically
engineered.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried to say he tried to say
softening of
GE
that.
instead of genetically
GE.
engineered instead of genetically modified, because engineered gives it. Here's a scientist behind.
Yeah,
it.
they were trying to.
So, yeah.
Go ahead. No.
So straight math on this is, for one farmer with a combine, a high horse tractor to pull a disc, and a seeder, you're looking at like a son and father and an employee for, I don't know, Midwest, easily close to 1,500 acres. Easy. Couple pickup trucks, everything's good. What's better for the economy? That system, where the John Deere, the Case International dealerships making $600,000 on the sale of a tractor? Or is a small farm like this better? You know? You could have lots of small farms. A good example of this is Russia during the collapse of the former Soviet Union. No butter, no sugar, no food. What happened? People grew their food. You know, until you're cold and hungry, there's no... But that's my goal, my vision, and that's why I see the big problem economically with large commodity-based agriculture is that 3 guys can run 1,500 acres easy. What will that go into our 20 that we do? That's families, you know, local, hyper-local, people nutrient-rich food.
Well, and the other
that's my
really
big take on that
the
is
really
that
cool thing
it's
with
better
like
economics.
what we do is we plant super intensively. Like everything's really, really close. Where we put, you know, where a big conventional farm might plant a tomato plant like every 2 feet and single space, and then they give the next bed 3 feet. And you know what we do is we double or triple plant that space, and we're actually yielding the same volume in the same amount of space. Or like we plant our carrots 5 rows on a bed, where they plant 1 row of carrots. You know, so what they're also showing is these small farms, we're out yielding them. We are creating food for the masses doing small farming.
Interesting.
You know, so we're actually taking a better use of the space.
Cuba's another good example of small farms, people not having food, being like, we don't have food.
Yeah.
What do we do? You know, everyone. It's in your DNA. It's on autopilot.
Yeah.
Get a seed in the ground and water it.
And then the other cool thing we're doing this year is we've been grafting like all of our vegetable varieties to yield double the amount of produce and have disease resistance. And that's what all the big boys do, you know. But we're just doing it on a small scale we're doing high-tech techniques with low-tech technology that we can afford.
Yeah.
And this is happening all over right now. I mean, we're really inspired by Jean-Martin Fortier. We're doing his masterclass, which has been helping us out to just really be organized and get all our ducks in. And we're like more organized than we've ever been. And we're also watching a lot of Richard Perkins, and you know, there's some great YouTube videos out there right now, and just people who are pushing it and really making a difference in this small farming, you know, vision. And they're out producing the big guys. So it's amazing. Like Connor Crickmore, he's doing $350,000 a year on an acre and a half.
He keeps on downing his acreage. Like you know,
just to see.
Granted, he's 2 hours away from New York City.
Gotcha.
He's working 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Like, I
He's
mean,
fat. Like,
but
literally,
Yeah.
like,
no.
Top that. I don't think you can. I mean, this is the type of conversations that we want to
Yeah,
bring
this
to you.
is what we want for small farms
Yeah.
in Colorado.
Yeah.
We want to see people able to feed their communities, make a healthy living, and be able to put a new roof on their house if they need to, or whatever's going on, if they have doctor bills and they need to take care of things.
Sure.
It's like,
Yeah, I wonder.
you
There's
shouldn't
an
have to go get
emergency
another
fund.
job,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, yeah, no, and that's a staggering thing is every farmer you know and you talk to, outside of some of the super dialed in farmers, multi-generational, they all have other jobs.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
sad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And
I
then
know.
it's on the table for us all the time.
Like busting your butt 12, 14 hours a day.
was that a hobby?
Growing food. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
like-
it's like doing the things that's right for our planet, our community. It's sad that we can't all make a good living off of that versus these guys on Wall Street who don't really do anything for the masses, who only do
Yeah.
things for themselves.
Yeah.
And
Trading
you know,
commodities.
And what's the
And-
one thing
yeah.
you need to do 3 times a day? Eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, like
You need a
you
lawyer,
need
like,
to eat
5-6
every
times
day,
a lifetime.
and people just don't value it. Like and here especially because we are in a really conservative town, a lot of oil field industry here where they just really don't look at lettuce and tomatoes and
Sure.
carrots as a
You're an
value.
afterthought.
When
We're like
when we
$2.
moved-
Why
yeah.
would I pay $2
Sure.
for that?
When-
and we're like, it's $2.
When we moved here, we were like, "Oh man! Like, can you believe the CSA just folded and like
Yeah.
nobody's like taking advantage of all these? Like, we did the math on population, and yeah, it's Denver and the high country that keep us afloat. You know what I mean? Like,
Here's the
it's-
good news and the bad news. Bad news, you guys are kind of unicorns, really. I mean,
That's a good way to look at it.
hard to find. You know, the Yeti every once in a while. Here's the good news: is people more and more, myself included, Jay, the Modern Eater Show, we're becoming modern eaters. We want to know
Yeah.
where our food's coming from. We just want to be educated consumers, and we want to support community.
We feel
want
that's
to
the
support
trend in
local.
organic food too.
And I
is-
believe it is too.
It's not cheap though. I mean, sometimes you got to be like, "Yo, Verizon, I'm coming down on my plan because I love organic."
Well, wait a
You know what
minute,
I mean?
Food's
though.
more
You know,
important.
and
Or
I like
don't
to
need that
take
slick ride,
on
I
that
want-
argument, like because I hate big pharma.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hate medical bills, Western medicine. I mean, I could get
It
into
directly correlates.
with that.
Yeah.
You know, front end, right? You pay the money front end, treat yourself good. You treat the symptom. You
Yeah,
don't
how much
mask
you
it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't mask it, and that's what it's all about. You guys, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm sorry it gets so intense.
That's
like
that's what it's all about. This is what people really
what we
want. Jessica and Scott, Field
we're
Fort.
just really passionate about what we do.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Thank you again for the
Yeah, man,
hospitality.
great to cross
Look
paths.
at the hands of a farmer and look for the guy that's never worked a day in his life.
Ah,
Right there. It's a little different.
we you know when the old battery tower,
I feel like a newborn baby, don't
the
I?
battery tower is like a little corroded. No worries. Just give that a little twist, you know. It's up right
It's
up
you
there.
guys that are doing it for us, and we're just so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yeah, but we're not finished because now we're going to go out into the fields and check out the whole farm.
Sweet.
And
Yeah.
give you all a tour.
we'll give you a little
of-
You're gonna
tour
bring this.
of our spring production.
Intrepid Sojourn, did you like it?
Oh
That was
yeah,
great.
I was gonna
High octane.
shout out Intrepid.
9.3.
You guys that is really good.
I'm a
Thank
cheap
you.
Nice.
More
That's
to
our
come,
friends,
road
Andrew
trip.
Moore.
Road Trip 2018, the summer dinner series is coming at you, and all the great sourcing that we're doing. We're going to bring it back to you for some great dinners here. The Modern Eater Show on iHeartRadio.